All right, so we got our basic trailer frame laid out. There'll be some cross members in there after I flip it. Just gets too heavy to flip. Usually I'm here by myself, so I try to keep it light enough to flip it over. Then I'll add to the strength of it afterwards. But we got the A-frame and all the geometry set. And got our jack stands on there. Jacks, not jack stands. And our axle is more or less attached. I got to get some bushings for the springs, which didn't have. So I'll have to take it all apart again, but just got to undo the bolts, spring bolts, and slide them in. No big D, no biggie. But yeah, I can barely talk, man. It's so cold out here. It's about minus 10 Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, like 10, something like that, 10 or 12. Cold, and I'm in the shade, so that doesn't help. So anyway, we're going to flip her over. All right, so the trailer is coming along, the little tiny home. As I'm going along, I'm sort of figuring out exactly what I want to do with it, so it's evolving. I'm trying to figure out things for the future. This one is an experiment, and I'm still trying to make it right, but it is an experiment. I don't think people build using steel structural. They might use steel studs, but this isn't steel studs. This is going to be steel structural, sort of like post and beam style construction. So it's going to have like upright there, and there, and then just panels. So kind of similar to the way they build campers now, but only mine's going to be steel just for cost savings more than anything. So the strong structural bit is the channel frame underneath, and then the cross members, instead of being down inside, they're basically floor panels. But this is 2x2, 1/8 angle with a supporting piece underneath. And then, so it's like a piece that'll fit basically a 4x8 piece of plywood. So I did that just for economy. So basically I've got 8 feet across. And the width I ended up with was more or less just to hit the fender at the beginning of the curve, because I thought that would look aesthetically the best. And that worked out to about 7'5", I think it is, across here. Could be off an inch. And yeah, so it's getting there. I got the corner jacks are welded on. This little jutting out piece is going to be a little porch area. And in the front, same deal. It's a little smaller, but just a little bit to have some storage here, and maybe the batteries and systems will go in there. I don't think I'm going to put it in this one. I think I'm going to end up selling this one more or less as a shell. I'm not sure. I'm really debating on that. Trying to figure out what the business model would be, and is that business model selling this or selling a shell on this or selling a completed but simple tiny home with no systems, or a completed tiny home with systems. Because putting the systems in is very time consuming and costly. And as far as from a business model standpoint, I think it makes the most economic sense to sell a shell on a trailer frame, or just a trailer frame ready to build the tiny home. You tell me what you think, and I'll go with that. I'll follow your advice. But I think shell on frame is the way to go. Ready, road ready. You know, I still got a lot to do that in that respect. There's no wiring. I can put the jack on, the chains. These have brakes. It's probably going to need it. I think when this is all done, I'm guessing around 2,500 pounds. And I'm not going to show you the style that I'm building just yet. I got it already kind of figured out. It's already kind of on paper, a little sketch. But I'm just going to let you follow along, and I'm not going to give it away. And but it's going to be cute and uniquely cute. So the idea hasn't been done that I can tell. I've Googled a lot of tiny homes, and I'll tell you right now, this isn't your shed roof style, and this isn't a peaked roof style. That is very common. This is Dan's style, and it's a Nova Scotian style, and it's going to be unique to Modern Blacksmith. So we'll see how it goes. I skipped ahead quite a bit on it, so apologize. I didn't film, from the trailer on to this point. It looks like more is done than you would think, but really not that much more. Anyway, let's go to the back. It's easier to see. I can't even really recall what was in the last clip because I haven't reviewed it. But let's just show you what we got overall. We got our back deck on. I don't know if I had those little jacks on there, but they're there. I got the rear lights on. No other lighting's been done yet. I had to fix the axle. The saddles were on the wrong side, so I had to repair that. Had to buy new saddles and flip them. It was just easier than cutting the old ones off. I got the fenders on. I've got the splash shield there. I'm going to box it all in so it's a more usable space, and then fill that with foam or something. I don't know. And the frame was beefed up a little bit with these runners just to take any bounce out of the floor. And that'll work good. I already had the plywood in there and it worked. We got the smart boards, we call them up here. I don't know what you call them where you're from, but we call them smart board. It's like one big sheet of plywood with the wood grain pressed into it because it's basically OSB. And I got to cut around the fenders on this side. I'm getting ready to do the other one. And you'll notice the roof line is on. Huh? How do you like that? Pretty sweet, eh? Very typical shape for Nova Scotia. It's a common home from the 1800s to have, that sort of shape, a mansard roof, a curved mansard roof. From the Victorian times, that's this basic shape. I got to fix that little bit of plywood there a little bit better. It kind of popped. I need to put twice as many screws in that. You'll notice I left the panel board going up above, and let's see if we can see it from this side. See how that's going up like that? You're probably thinking, why didn't you cut that off before you put it up there? Well, it's going to be awfully hard to put that plywood on there without something holding it. So I thought, well, put that panel on there first, drop the plywood for the roof on there, and then draw it in and get it all screwed on there, or half screwed anyway, and then saw that off, and that'll just be a little easier. And save myself a little misery. So other than that, that's where we're at now. There'll be either just a little front platform for something here, or I've seen it in a lot of tiny homes, but there'd be a little box built here. But I thought I would leave it. I'm going to put a floor in it, but I'm going to leave it because whoever buys it might want to put some systems in there
And, you know, they'll want to put in what they want to put in, and maybe the box I build is not big enough for what they want. So it'll be easy enough to build off of that. So I'm just going to leave it. The whole plan with this tiny home is to keep it so it's, you know, it's unfinished. It's a shell. I'm going to put, it's a shell, but not a shell, because I've got all the foam insulation over there that I got fairly cheaply, used off of a roof. And I'm going to adhere it to the inside of this panel here. And then I'm going to use what we call up here Meranti, which is like a 1/4 inch plywood, general use plywood. It's pretty cheap. It kind of looks like paneling, but it's fairly strong, and it's exterior grade. It's not, you know, it's not really that great in the weather, but a small amount of water hitting it doesn't really bother it too much. So I call it exterior grade. It's not really great exterior grade shit. But anyway, that's what we got so far. All steel framed with 2x2 by 1/8. Essentially post and beam construction, but instead of a steel post and beam, you're using steel. Did I say steel? Instead of wood, you're using steel. So that's where we're at now. I'll get back to you soon when I get the roof and everything closed in. I'll show you the nice door I got, the windows I've already got, everything nice. And a nice paint too. And yeah, so I'll get back to you real soon. See ya.